within reason, not obviously word for word. Well as obviously the listeners. So you two just talk amongst yourselves. Luke, tell them.
Menu right there, hit OK. Okay, and we can now change. If you look, you'll see the discrimination clock face going up and down, and that's how we change that configuration. Okay, in this video we're just going to have a quick look at these clock face symbols right here. Okay, and to access the modes to change the settings right here, what we're going to do is we're going to hit that menu button again on the bottom right hand side. There you go. In front of us we now have iron volume, discrimination and sensitivity. So for example, if we wanted to change our discrimination, we would come down on the menu right there, hit OK. Okay, and then we can now change. If you look, you'll see the discrimination clock face going up and down, and that's how we change that configuration.
Yeah, can you see me all right on it? Yeah, what can I do about that? I know. Lily? Lily! I'll get my hands free kit going. Yeah. Can you pass me my headphones, please? From back down the side. Thank you. Do you hear that, Luke? Close the door after you, please, love. Hands free. I wasn't going to stick them in my ears. I was just going to have the microphone close to me. Right, give me a sec. Again, is that angle okay? Excellent.
I'm giving people a little bit of a pre-listen day too. So, with the big podcast, you will have to bear with us, especially the people got quite a few people watching the video feed. So it is primarily a podcast. We're just playing around today with getting some audio, so it's not anywhere near as streamlined or anywhere near as well done as it will be in the future. If you can bear with us for this one, this is a little bit of an experiment for what we are going to be doing in the future every Thursday night. So bear with us if we make some errors on this live vidcast. And if the vidcast all goes terribly wrong, you can pop over to Spreaker and type in the Big Metal Detecting Podcast, and we'll have audio there that will be bob on as it is every week. But as I say, the vidcast is a new thing, so we're learning as we go. And hello, Tom, in the feed. Sorry, Dave, it's all yours.
Sorry, where am I? About 30 seconds. I'm just nipping on to have a look on there. "20 seconds. Oh, there we are. Okie dokie, I'm going live. Good evening. It's Thursday night. It's 8 o'clock, and it's the Big Metal Detecting Podcast. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Big Metal Detecting Podcast. A very, very, very special evening tonight. We're trialing several things, but mainly it's we've been a platform tonight for the National Council for Metal Detecting, who will speak to John Rigby, the membership secretary, shortly. Tonight we are, as I say, being a platform. The NCMD will be conducting via ourselves a Christmas raffle for members only of the National Council for Metal Detecting. They've got 10 metal detectors, which I said John will tell you all about very, very shortly. And throughout the show, the 10 names will be revealed via John's system, which we've got set up. We're also joined tonight by my good friend and confidant, Mr. Luke Higgins, my co-editor of the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine. So welcome, Luke. It's fantastic to finally have you here.
I have been on before, Dave. Once,
yes, but
dig a
you know,
door.
failed with me at bloody Rob took the body on Rally and Detector. So,
Absolutely, and in the pub, I was in the pub with my my pal Jared. Actually, I think the night before Rodney Cook as well, wasn't it?
you were just after your car had died and nearly gone to car heaven.
Don't remind me. Yeah, absolutely.
First and foremost, I'd like to welcome all new listeners tonight. There's a lot of people obviously interested in this via the National Council for Metal Detecting Facebook page. Thank you to everybody who's shared the word around tonight for the last week or so, telling everybody of what's taking place tonight. Welcome to all new listeners. We're here every Thursday from 8 o'clock. We have different guests every week. On the Spreaker platform, which is the main platform, you'll be able to find all past editions of the show on there, on Spotify, on iTunes, and many, many, many other different platforms that you can listen to different podcasts on. So please have a listen back. I'm sure there'll be one or two you like. We do have this, I say, every week. The only day we won't be live will be Boxing Day, where we're going to be doing a pre-recorded year in review. That's myself and Luke and several other guests, including at the moment Scotty B and Mr. Addicted to Bleeps. So, first and foremost, again, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Luke, and good evening, Mr. John Rigby. How are you? Marvellous. It's great to have you here, John. John, can you tell the listeners a little bit about what's happening tonight and why we're doing this show as we are?
Yes, well, lots of people love this year will be the NCMD's 40th anniversary. So this was one of the things that we said we were going to do. We had a committee meeting and decided that to give away as a Christmas present to our members 10 metal detectors. 5 of those will be Orcs metal detectors, and the other 5 will be the Equinox. We are also going to. We've actually purchased some sew-on patches that remember next year when they join or rejoin, they will get the sew-on patch with every membership. So it's a big year for us. Hopefully we'll be doing even more than this, but as I say, this is the first part of it, and we thought we'd do it before Christmas so that somebody will get a nice Christmas present. Brilliant. And obviously everything that you do in the future, anything that people you request people to let them know about things, will come directly via ourselves as well. We're going to help out as much as we can with promotion for, well, the future of the National Council for Metal Detecting. So I'll let you disappear for a moment, John. I'll speak to you in 5 minutes or so, and you can start with your first name, if that's okay. Yeah, can I just add to that? I'm doing the draw from a database. So the information on that database falls under the GDPR. So all I will do is I will give the name of the person who's won the detector. Even if they're not listening, they will be contacted tomorrow morning by myself. Brilliant. And obviously, as we've said, you'll be finding the numbers. The numbers won't be mentioned. It'll be directly the people who have won the prize, and then obviously everybody can cheer and go and do Christmassy things. That's it. Yeah. Brilliant. It is hard with the database, as you know. I random generator, a number generator, and the thing is, I can't do too much. Understandable, John. No problem whatsoever. I think we lost Luke, but he's just rang back in. Luke, are you with me? Brilliant. John, you still here? You haven't cut you off, have you? John seems to have been cut off. Let me just ring John back in as well. It's the first time we've had 3 guests on, so John should be with me any minute. We're calling him now,
and he will be there any second. Luke, you've been busy. Always. Brilliant. John's back with us now, so it seemed when you rang back it must have knocked John off, but we're back all together now anyway. So, metal detecting, as I say, John's got to disappear now. We'll give John a shout shortly for the winner of the first machine, if that's okay, John. Excellent. That's fantastic, John. Sure appreciate that. So you go away, John, do your first one, and we'll be back to you very, very shortly. Excellent. So, Luke, obviously we've got a lot of new people who are listening to the show for the first time tonight, and obviously a lot of people who don't so much need reminders, but I'm sure people want to know a little bit more, you know, from yourself about the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, which is our primary concern. Obviously, this is a byproduct of the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, but I'll let you tell people a little bit about the magazine.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I've been, how long have I been with you now, Dave? 2.5 years, something like that. On the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine. Yeah, around about 2.5 years. So basically, the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, there's a lot of people listening will know, but the idea of the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, which was started by Dave, was to essentially pool any relevant or newsworthy stories or articles from the genres of archaeology and metal detecting into one place. So it's kind of a one-stop shop, essentially. And it was clearly a good idea, Dave, because it's taken off a bit in in recent, well, particularly the last sort of 18 months, really, isn't it? Year and a half, 18 months.
It certainly has, yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's been good. It's been a good journey, and we've kind of got ourselves to a stage now where, you know, as well as having, you know, as well as keeping people up to date on, you know, third-party news sources, we're also getting quite a lot of our own articles come through now as well, which is great. It's obviously fantastic. You know, a lot of people to thank for that. Too many to, you know, I don't want to start mentioning names because I'll forget some, but you know, those people, you know, they know who they are that have supported us on the journey that we've been through so far.
We have, and obviously at the end of the show, we've got a list of people that we usually thank for their inputs and assistance over the, you know, over all the time that we've been doing things as well. So we'll give mentions out later on, obviously. John, have you got a first name at all yet? Oh, I thought you were going to say Sadler then. So, congratulations. That's David Owen, who's won the first prize. And did you say that was an ORX, John? Excellent. So, the first winner from the National Council for Metal Detecting Christmas prize draw is David Owen, who's won an ORX. So, congratulations to he. So, we'll be back to you shortly, John. Excellent. Yes, we've been through a lot of ups and downs, haven't we, Luke? The magazine, it's evolved. It's obviously evolved into this podcast via doing the All Metal Mode UK podcast with Mike Hare. We've covered obviously Detectable last year and this year. We've covered the Rodney Cook Memorial Rally this year, and obviously both, plus the Spring Detectable, we are taking part in again next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be a really, really exciting one next year. I mean, I think we're certainly, you know, a lot of it's been learning from our mistakes, but I think in 2020 we're going to be in the right places. I've just seen David Owen. As long as there's not more than one person that has the name David Owen in GMD, then David Owen is actually listening. He's just commented on the Facebook feed. He's just said, fantastic, thank you, with a couple of smiley faces.
That's brilliant.
So hopefully that is the right David Owen. I think John will have to confirm if there's more than one, which there is a possibility, isn't there, I guess, in the NCMD. But I'm sure it is you, David.
Let's hope so. Well done, David Owen. Whichever one it is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, what a lot of people don't realise that we actually do is that we started last year at Detectable. We published our first ever paper version of the magazine, which via advertising we were able to give away for free last year. And this year we upped our game. Yourself edited it absolutely fantastic, made it look phenomenal for my eyes, and we were able to give we've done 3 copies this year, wasn't it? Yes, it was 3 copies last year, Luke.
Yeah, sorry, I lost you for a second there, Dave. Yes, it was. I actually have, believe it or not, I've got 2 copies here. So I've got issue 4, which was the one with our good friend Addicted to Bleach on the front. I'm just showing that to the big cast watchers. And I've also got the detectable copy here. So these were available free at obviously at the big rallies, but also at several smaller rallies around the UK as well. So being truthful, we've got I think about 70 copies of the detectable one left, around about 20 or 30 of issue 4. But do you know, I haven't even got a Rodney Cook edition myself. I don't know if you've got any, Dave, but I haven't even got that.
What have I got? I've got the one with Addicted to Bleeps on the front is the only one I've got left.
Really?
Yeah, that's the only one I've got. I've got a couple of put to the side. Well, I've got one that I've kept for obviously myself because, hey, I need a copy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So other than that, no, we completely out the Rodney Cook ones. The Detectable event, what they call Mine Lab, who promoted the events, they'd obviously printed one via us for the events, and we were able to give that in the bag to the everybody who came to Detectable, which was great as well.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, the
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And then the Treasure Hunting magazine, Dan and Julian have been absolutely phenomenal help. And, you know, there's nothing we wouldn't do for Treasure Hunting magazine because they've helped us immensely as well. Yes, as well as we have to give mention to the sources who also have distributed the magazines for us, like Find a Field, Scotty B at North of Time Metal Detecting, who himself will be launching his the group's first big metal detecting rally next year in the north of the UK. We also have to thank Tom Peserick. Who else? Obviously, Mark Beecher, Metal Detectives, but there's more than that, Luke. You'll have to prompt me on the name of them. No. Where they've been distributed and will be next year. Yes.
Some of it we kind of can't mention at the moment. But we do have a major major entity that we are hoping will be posting copies of our magazine out as well. Whether they will do, but as I say, that will all be announced in January. In the new year. Yeah, I think I've just got the vidcast back now, so I apologise to anyone that is watching on that. I did say at the beginning it was a kind of a bit of a test period here.
Yeah, you actually only rang me at 6:30 to say, Dave, we could do it.
Yeah, I knew I shouldn't have said that.
Anyway, back to John. John, have you got name number 2, please?
Yes, but before I give out name number 2, I'd just like to point out there wasn't David Owen on my database. I went through it straight after I heard you say that what I found today, David Owen.
Well, congratulations, Scotland, David Owen. And apologies to any other David Owens out there.
Okay, so John Rigby, who's on the podcast but you can't hear, has just said that the David Owen that won is a David Owen in Scotland. There is 4 David Owens on the NCMD database.
Marvellous. So apologies for any confusion there. John, have you got the second name, please?
Right, the second name, which is
Mark Fawkes. So the second winner, which is for the Equinox 800, is Mark Fawkes. So congratulations to Mark.
Guys, the David Owen that we've got listening to the vidcast is the right David Owen.
Excellent. Well done, David.
Well done, mate. Well done. Congratulations. And well done from John. I know you can't hear John on the vidcast, but well done from John as well.
And it's nice to actually have somebody who's listening to the show to actually be able to hear that being drawn as well. So that's fantastic. John, we'll be back to you very shortly. Marvellous. Isn't he so polite, Luke?
John is, isn't he? Classic English gentleman.
He is. He's a Blackpool fan, but we forgive him for that. But then again, he is northern and not a southern softy. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Did you get the email through from Cscope this morning, Dave?
No, I haven't. Unfortunately, I've not been able to look. I'm a bit busy at work at the moment, and it's obviously I've got home from work, been in a conference call with yourself and then show, so I've not been able. So, tell me about that.
I'm just gonna try and find it now because it's got quite a lot of detail that I wasn't aware of regarding the new machine. But if you can just talk for 2 minutes, Dave, I'm sure you can find something to talk about. Then I'll pull that email up and we can run through that because I think it'd be quite interesting. It's certainly things I didn't know, until I received that email about the new machine. I've got it here actually, Dave. I think so.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so we're all very busy at the moment. One of the shows that we're doing on the 26th will be a pre-recorded show, which will be a year in review. I'm actually sitting down and researching what we need to talk about because we're going to be basically looking at hoards that have been discovered in the UK over the past year, and obviously we've had Scotty B, who's been privy to several. Mr. Addicted to Beeps, Chris Rogers, he's got one himself. So we're looking forward to that. Excellent show for the future. And then we're looking at January for next year. We've already got several people lined up for January. We haven't got the dates set in stone as yet. Next week's guest will be Mr. Aaron Weedle, South Coast Detector in. And hopefully he brings a friend with him. I've not asked him yet, but I'm hoping Aaron brings a friend with him, and I'm sure he'll know what I'm on about.
Okay, I've got this. Shall I read through this quickly before John before John comes back. So it's an email from Cscope with regards to the Evo 6000. Hopefully the vidcast viewers will be able to see it as well. So it says from Cscope, hello there. As we edge towards the end of 2019, we thought it would be a good time to share with you, good people, some news on our new microprocessor-driven detector, the Evo 6000. The product is due for launch in spring 2020, and we are very excited about how the testing and development process is progressing. We've been really happy with the lightning response and powerful performance of the Evo 6000. The Evo 6000 is delivering, and we feel we could tweak it further. The build quality is what you expect from a Cscope, and the balance makes the detector a joy to use. The Evo will have a huge LCD screen, which features a really neat and intuitive menu. It delivers amazing levels of flexibility whilst remaining simple to use. And the display shows a clever, always visible configuration, so you can see on screen at a glance how the detector is set up. And I must admit, just going off the Cscope script, I was quite impressed by that detector all day. Do you remember on the screen it showed you literally every setting? It's the biggest screen I've seen on the detector.
And as I mentioned then, it was perfect for me with me getting old and my eyesight going. I'm only 46, but for me, it was a perfect sized pad to see what's going on, and it was well balanced and everything. It was a jolly good machine.
It didn't look like a Cscope, in all honesty.
No, it didn't.
Not as you'd expect, you know. So, and it goes on to say 4 clock face dials show discrimination, sensitivity, iron volume, and disk volume levels at all times without having to refer back to the menu. So, I mean, that's, you know, I think that's all really, really good. Selection of preset modes, including inland, beach, and all metal. And you can make up to 10 further configurations of your own. So the Evo 6000 can be switched between motion and non-motion modes. And it's basically just saying we'll be back in touch with more info in the new year. And I'm sure if we pick up with the guys at Cscope, we could get them onto this podcast and vidcast sometime soon, you know, just to talk about where they are at the moment with the Evo 6000.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, I've actually asked Martin Bass to come on in the new year and obviously give updates and whatnot. So, yeah, greatly looking forward to that. And incidentally, we'll be playing a song at the end of the show, which was made by one of the guests we had on a couple of weeks ago, Ian Churchward from the legendary 10 Seconds. And he got so excited by the show and being a part of it and talking about the history, metal detecting and his music and such like, because his band is actually a medieval, not a reenactment, but making modern day music in a medieval style. As I say, you'll hear at the end of the show one of their songs, and he's actually wrote a song based on something I sent him about my introduction to metal detecting, which was via a Cscope 600 series back in the 1970s, and the song is very, very Cscope heavy, so Martin's actually looking forward to hearing that himself.
Oh, okay, so, brilliant. Did you say they're making a Dave Sadler song as well, Dave, didn't you?
No, it's a song. One of the articles that we had published by myself was about how I got into archaeology and metal detecting, and we were talking about people's how they got into metal detecting. So I sent him over that story. A couple of other people have sent him theirs, so he can write a story based on each individual's background, and basically it's about me and Cscope, which is nice. So anyway, back over to John. John, have you got winner number 3, please?
Yes, good luck to everybody. The winner of Chloe Riley.
So the winner of the ORX Orcs is Miss Chloe Riley. Mrs. Chloe Riley. So congratulations, Chloe. Hope you're listening. If not, you will be notified via John and the NCMD in the coming days. Thanks, John. Back to you in a moment.
Obviously, anyone listening, if you can share that name around, So if she's not listening, we can find her. It'd really be great if we could find as many of these people whilst the show's going on as possible. So post it to your local Facebook groups, and let's see if we can find these people, because they're all detectorists. So chances are they'll be on some groups that we are on.
And talking about them being detectorists is the community, and what a community that metal detecting community is. So I'm sure, things that I've been associated with in the past few years has led me to, there's nowhere I'd rather be than the metal detecting community. I've made some great friends, even though, like Luke lives down near Eastbourne. I live in Congleton, northwest Cheshire. So the friends that we make via this fantastic hobby, Luke. Yeah,
it is technology and the hobby, isn't it? I think, much as we all moan about Facebook, and I moan about Facebook constantly, and the distractions it causes, there is an awful, what we're able to do now, isn't it, thanks to YouTube, but the hobby is fantastic. And I think it has it's bizarre, really, because for a hobby that is really quite back to basics, getting out in the nature and getting out in the fields, we're really kind of I think it's got a really strong online presence, particularly on Facebook.
Massive, absolutely massive. And obviously, as you say as well, YouTube. There must be so many people who are using Facebook who are more or less new to the hobby, who have watched videos of Chris Rogers, of Digger Dawn, etc., and been introduced to the hobby via that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. One of the things we've actually done in my group, it's a relatively small group, Southeast Metal Detecting Rallies. We and this is potentially an idea that other people around the country may want to consider, but we put a post together advertising sort of metal detecting experience stage, for people that maybe aren't currently involved in the hobby, and the response we've had to that has been fantastic. An unbelievable response, which just shows the amount of people out there that want to be involved in the hobby but don't know how to get into it. And as soon as you give them an avenue and you give them a way of getting into the hobby, there's a lot of interest. And I've got no doubt YouTube, as well as all the hordes and things that have come up as well, of course, but I've got no doubt that, YouTube and people like Digger Dawn, Addicted to Bleeps, and they're the YouTubers, without mentioning other names, they're the ones that represent the hobby in a really positive light. And I think all of these types of things have all kind of come together and made the hobby. Who would have thought, certainly even probably 6 years ago, that the hobby would have ever got to the size it's at now? I don't think anybody would have even hazarded a guess at how popular the hobby was going to become.
Absolutely. And of course, you also have to thank the Detectorist TV program for that.
Yes, absolutely. We know that, Dave, don't we? From the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, the biggest periods of time we have of people, logging into Google and searching metal detecting is when that TV series is on, and we can see in our analytics, we hold good numbers all year round. But if say, for example, Detectorist was to come out with a season 4, the Archaeology and Metal Detector magazine would absolutely fly again, because it just drives so much interest in the hobby. It really does.
It does, yeah. Over to John again. John, have you got number 4 for us?
I have, yes. Of course, it's the next step is on Cscope Evo. The name that's come out is Steve Clifford. I haven't checked the database. There was only one Steve on our database.
Do you want to follow up on that, Luke?
Yeah, Steve. So for the vidcast listeners, Steve Clifford, and there is only one Steve Clifford on the database. So if your name is Steve Clifford and you are a member of the National Council for Metal Detecting, then you have just won yourself a metal detector.
Congratulations, that man. Steve Clifford. That's 4 down and 6 to go. So, hey, we're doing well.
Dave, we do have a lady. just in the vidcast feed, Susanna Johnson, who is asking who are the first 2 winners. Can we remember
Certainly.
the name?
Yeah, I've got everything written down. So the first winner was David Owen, who won an Orcs. The second winner was Mark Fawkes, who won a Knox. Chloe Riley won an Orcs, and Steve Clifford won a Knox. So there's your update on that. Now, we've mentioned the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, Luke, and how it became, etc., etc. For those of you who don't know, the website for that is www.archmdmag.com. And basically on the website, there's links to everything that we do, the big podcast, Facebook, Twitter, etc., etc. Plus, there's numerous people that and organisations, etc., that we work alongside or have worked alongside in the past. We have multiple articles on there from archaeology, obviously, metal detecting, historical, pseudo-archaeology. We have a lot of readers' finds. We have Project Oak Island, which we were working on mainly last year through multimedia here, there, and everywhere. We have a news section, which basically anything that we publish automatically produces on the news section. Now, we did used to do it automatically go into Facebook, but they've changed the settings. It now only goes onto Twitter. So if you follow us on Twitter, you'll get all the news coming through that whenever we publish an article, that'll come straight through. We have a media section, which introduces people to different YouTubers that we've worked alongside and we've promoted. A massive identifications library, PDFs, which includes all the back issues of our magazines, the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine paper version. Luke's got 3 to send over. He's been a bit busy and his computer died, so we'll get to uploading the 3 from this year. We have links as well, so obviously anything you want to know, pop on there. As I say, you'll find anything. The Facebook page itself, we have now nearly 15,000 followers on there, so there's daily information, masses and masses of information that go through there. We publish lots of different news articles, from historical to peculiar in some cases. We also have Mr. Tim Levine. Every morning gives us a what's going on in this day in history. We have Lee Hull, who takes some fantastic images and he publishes the image on the site with some information regarding the history of whatever the photograph is taken of. And we also have Mr. Tombo Brew, who also puts on some articles as well as me and Luke. So that's just a shout out and thanks to everybody who's helped us and obviously helps us in the future and what you can see and where you can see it. John, are you ready for number 5?
Yes, I've got that many. Right, now for an ORX gem. The next name out of that, and the only one on the database as well, is a Mr. Stephen Gilson. Stephen Gilson, and that's spelled Gilson.
So the winner of prize number 5, the ORX, is Mr. Stephen Gilson. For those listening on the watch party, what's it called, Luke?
Vidcast. I don't know if I made that word up, but that's what I've been calling it.
I'm not there yet. That's
well, it might not even
be
called a vidcast. I've got no idea. I just kind of thought that's what it's got to be called.
Well, it is now. So congratulations there again. If you could let know, that would be great. The other obviously page that we have on Facebook, we have an Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine Facebook group where obviously people chat, metal detecting, put images on and such like. So that's obviously more of a community-based thing. Additionally, obviously we have the big metal detecting podcast page where you can get all updates on what's going on in the show, and obviously we put links onto past shows and what have you. Easier to find. Obviously, it's people. There's so many people, Luke, who actually don't know what a podcast is.
Yeah, in the UK there is definitely. Yeah, definitely. That's what I was saying to you, Dave. I think we need to change the name to the Big Metal Detecting Radio Show.
I think that's what'll happen in the new year, Luke. I think that's a fantastic idea. The other thing as well, for people who are listening or who on the vidcast, see, got it right. if you do pop onto the Spreaker page, where obviously we do the show from, you can actually log in via Facebook. It's nice and easy. It's like any little app that goes through Facebook, and you can follow the show. Therefore, you'll get a notification whenever a show is going live. Also, and I should have mentioned this at the start of the show, and I do apologise, if you are on the website or on your phone, on the media player, which will say the NCMD Christmas draw, there's a little chat bubble, and the chat bubble obviously enters you into the chat room, so you can chat there.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I'm actually just pulling. I'm going to try and pull that up to a screenshot now, and we can, because the show, generally speaking, is Dave hosting with a guest. It's not just myself and Dave rambling on every week. So I'll pull up on the screen. We can have a look at some of the guests that we've had previously on the big podcast network. So we have had Tony Carwood, of course, is a Rutus Alta 71 user. We've had Pete Terrell, Mark Thompson, who the gold ring. What was the story behind that gold ring?
Yeah, it was basically he was on a find a field dig near Newark. Although the media suggests that it was Sherwood Forest, it wasn't. It was possibly the old where the Sherwood Forest reached in the historical terms, and he found a ring with an icon of the baby Jesus on it, a cherub baby Jesus type thing, and on the other side there was something else that actually went to auction a couple of weeks ago, and you know, was it 35,000 it reached at Christie's auction. So obviously that was split up. They'll take their chunk, and then that'll be split between finder and landowner. So congratulations up to Mark on that.
Absolutely.
Scott and Kimmy DeBay, Addicted to Bleeps, Dilek from
Dr. Macro.
Mine went blank then. Mike Smith, numerous other people, plus obviously
Mike Smith was obviously the finder of the Celtic Chariot in Wales. So you know, he was a really we had him on the All Metal Mode UK podcast as well. Mike Smith, and we great guest, and obviously just hugely historical find.
Yeah, brilliant. Historical in the sense of history changing for South Wales, definitely in that area.
No, absolutely, yeah. And then obviously we debuted with the podcasts at Detector, and well, the debut was at Rodney Cook, actually. Gary Cook.
It was
Rodney Cook Rally was the debut, wasn't it?
If you do get to listen through the podcast, you'll find that we've got to this point by making I've made lots of mistakes. At Rodney Cook, I've done a show and forgot to put the microphone on, so that was a half an hour down the drain. A couple of weeks ago, I actually put the Spreaker on silent, and nobody could hear the conversation. Well, I think it was one-sided actually. I put myself on silent, but we've got to this point now, and it will improve again. Obviously, sound quality now with the preamp and whatnot, we've got that more or less perfect. So. And I could actually hear this week because I remembered the best way to deal with my sound issues. John, are you ready for number 6?
Yes, I am. Now, the winner is David Murray. What I will do is I'll save these for because I haven't found the two, so I'm still going to do the list of Morris on my database. So there's a list of Morris database, but this one is from Wales.
So congratulations, that's David Morris from Wales. John's still going through the database of other Dave Morrises, if any, but there's 2, but this one is from Wales. So congratulations there to David Morris. Luke, I'm just going to give a bit of a shout out to some of the people on the chat on Spreaker site. Aaron of South Coast Detecting now. If you look for South Coast Detecting on YouTube, he's got a YouTube site. That's Brad again. He's got a YouTube channel. Tony Kaywood, that's TC Detect. Stephen Pettican. Remind me, Stephen, what your is it Stephen Pettican on YouTube that your site is? Scott and Kimmy DeBay, who I forgot what your I'll give you the mention debates, but I forgot.
Dirt Diggers UK. And actually, I do have to give them a shout out for tonight as well with regards to the vidcast, because I was getting to the stage of throwing my PC out the window until Scott DeBay came winging in with the answers that we needed to make tonight possible. So, big thank you to you, Scott, for your help. Much appreciated as always, my friend.
Definitely. Where was I? I'm scrolling through. There was another one I spotted then. Pete Tyrrell, obviously, Pete from Leisure Promotions. Divi Detectorist, he's got a YouTube channel as well. So, thanks to everybody, each and every one of them Don Titchin, Jetski John, another old friend of mine and his partner. I mean, mine's gone blank again, What's her YouTube channel called? John, tell me what her YouTube channel is. Can be mine. Jackie, I can't remember what the YouTube channel is. Jackie Smith. Is it Jackie Smith Detector?
Jackie Smith. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. So I do apologise. My mind's gone blank tonight. I've got so many things I have to remember. And John and Jackie are very old friends from when I was running the mayoral metal detector in Rallies up in Rochdale a few years ago. One of the other people on there, I've lost his name again. 80 Prozac. I'm sure 80 Prozac has a YouTube channel as well. So give them all a look, and I'm sure you'll find that. Oh, Gary Keith from SS History Hunters. Obviously, how do I forget that? John 316 UK, a good friend of mine, John, who actually a couple of weeks ago, he said, "Did you pass me?" I said, "Where?" He said, "I was metal detecting in this particular place." And I went, "That's my site." John and me seem to have been metal detecting the same site for a number of years now. So,
and we've got a happy Xmas here from John Milne at the Musketeers Metal Detecting Club.
Thank you very much. Scott DeBay says Detecting Ed is David Edwards. So shout out to each and every one of them, and obviously more to do at the end of the show. Yes, definitely age. It's either age or not having any sleep. To be honest, Kev, last night I had to rush over to Chester to the Countess in Chester Hospital, so I didn't get in till late last night, and I was up at 5:30 this morning for work, so I do apologise. John, where are we, John? Are we there with number 7? Hey, we're doing well here.
The next one, we don't have any problems because of the one on the database, and it's Mr. Nigel Mull Downey.
Nigel Mull Downey. So congratulations, winner number 7 of the ORX is Mr. Nigel Mull Downey. There we go. Luke.
I'm still here. Just got a few people on the vid feed saying they can't hear John, but obviously we did know that was going to be the case tonight, guys. So apologies about that. In the future, you will be able to hear both host, co-host, and guest. But we were aware that was going to be the case tonight.
Yeah, as I say, as we've said, it's just a trial. Also, from some of the other feeds we're doing, some of the YouTube channel, Alex Savage, I can't remember his YouTube channel, but believe me, it's fantastic. Lovely lad. I've got all the good words in the world to say about him. One of his videos, or some of his videos, he's actually part of an archaeological team who were present at Pompeii, and he was given permission to do some filming there. So give him a look up. Hopius Maximus, Keith Brown, we met him at Detectable. We've done a small interview with him as well, didn't we?
We did, yeah. That was over at the, I think that was over at the Regton store, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And I'll give a shout out as well to Adrian Gaylor's on there as well. Has he got a YouTube channel?
Well, Adrian, I'm not sure if he's got a YouTube channel, but Adrian's obviously a really big advocate of the Rutus brand, and Adrian's actually one of the guys that I would really like to get back on. onto a podcast as a future guest. I think he was either on, I can't remember, it was the Global Detection Adventures podcast or All Metal Mode UK, but we've definitely had Adrian Gaylor on one of our shows before, but he's a very, very, very knowledgeable guy. He's a really good guest. Be well worth getting on the big podcast as well, I think.
And also Team Rootish UK.
Yes, he's a member of Team Rootish UK. Yes, as am I myself.
Another person I want to give a shout out to is Ken Sampson as well. Ken supported us from the very start. Unfortunately, we could have hit some copyright boundaries, but Ken provided me with hundreds of PDFs way back when we started. So big shout out to Ken from, I think it's History Hunters. Ken's up in Dundee and fantastic help in the past as well. I'm trying desperately to get Alex Savage on the show, and I keep bugging him. I don't know why he keeps dodging me though, but I will get him on one day, because I really do want the public to listen to the Pompeii information, because that was startling of what he actually did there. It was great.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And I mean, other people I think, there's lots and lots of people I'd love to get back on the podcast, but I think still kind of top on my list and top on a lot of listeners' lists. Who do you think I'm going to say, Dave?
Mr. Julian Evan Hart.
Julian Evan Hart, absolutely. So if you're listening, Julian, editor of Treasure Hunting magazine, we need to get you here on the Big Metal Detecting podcast.
Or Lisa, if she's listening, she can tell him, or anybody else can bug him to be a member, because
everybody guest, start messaging Julian Evan Hart and telling him he needs to come on the big metal. Let's see how many messages we can send him.
Yeah, bombard him.
I'm joking,
because it's not just about who we want to get onto the show; it's about who you would like to hear. So, if anybody would like to be on the show, or even if you would like to write an article, put an article together and have it published on the website or in the magazine, which obviously we'll look at in the future, please get in contact with myself or Luke via Facebook or via the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine website. John, number 8.
Right, okay. Again, unfortunately, we have got this name on the database. Winner of an Equinox 800 is John Cattle. Now, all I will say is this: John Cattle is from Staffordshire.
Oh, that's close to me. I probably work with him, knowing my luck. So John Cattle is winner number 8 of the Equinox 800. So congratulations, John. Do you know, Luke, how interesting and how small a world it is? Now, for anybody who doesn't know what the Leek Frith Torque hoard is, it was a number of gold torques that were found in Leek in Staffordshire by a chap. Mine's gone blank again. Somebody else will tell me. Mark Hambleton. It was Mark Hambleton who was with him in the he part finder, but it was Joe. Mine's gone blank, but at least I got Joe. Joe Kania.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
lovely guy, but doesn't like going on camera.
Doesn't like her up. Mark's fine with doing it, but it was interesting that when I got to work the day after I found out, I was telling somebody in work, and he went, "I know Joe." I said, "What?" He said, "I know Joe." "You know Joe?" "How do I know Joe?" Now, I work for a company called JCB, which I'm sure each and every one of you have heard of, and I work in the hydraulic business unit. Next door in the backhoe unit works Joe. So I was quite gobsmacked at that, and obviously I didn't actually know him. I'd not met him, but finally met him at Rodney Cook Memorial, and such a small world, because he knows all the different people that I know from work as well. So brilliant.
That'd be another great guest, to be honest, Dave, to get on. Mark.
Yes,
Hamilton.
Mark will come on anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can get some images of the Leek Thrift hoard up for those listening on the vidcast. But if you're not, just Google it, the Leek Thrift hoard. Fantastic, amazing discovery.
Oh, awesome. I've seen it in the flesh as well at the Stoke Museum, and stunning. Thanks to John Titchin for coming on tonight, John. I'll give you a PM if you win, no problem there. Where are we now? John, are you with us for number 9?
Yes, number 9.
It's me, isn't it? Now, you've actually broke up on me a little bit there, John, so I didn't actually hear that. So I presume listeners would have also had an issue. You've gone all Norman Collier on me now.
Yeah, we're really struggling to hear you now, John.
Right, okay.
No, you're back. You're back. Yep, you're back. How do you pronounce that? How you sell? Y-U-C-E-L. You sell?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nothing like I had written down when you originally said it.
You sell Sally Hoglu. I'm sorry, I absolutely massacred your name there, my friend. But yeah, you sell Sally Hoglu. At least we know that's going to be the only one. So yeah. So well done, you sell.
I'm just going to write that down on the comments on the Spreaker page so people can either communicate with you, Sal, or give us a better pronunciation, because obviously it's one of them names that unfortunately we're going to struggle with. So you sell Sally Hoglu.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Tim Levine says, I think you spell it Tim Levine.
That'll be the one, yeah. Never misses a trick.
Oh, I think Mr. Terrell's trying to play a little joke or a little jape on us here. He's asked me to pronounce it again. He can't read it. Can I read it, Dave? It's you sell Sally Hoglu. There you go. So, where should we go now, Luke?
We have Mike Jones. Sorry, not Mike Jones. We have Sam Bernard just asking who are the winners so far again, Dave. So obviously we've been going for
certainly
probably an hour odd now. So I think there's a few people that have joined on, who may have missed some of the earlier winners.
Yeah, no problem. First prize for the Orcs was David Owen. Second prize for the Knox, Mark Fawkes. For another Orcs, Chloe Riley. A Knox, Steve Clifford. Orcs, Steve Gilson. A Knox, Dave Morris. An Orcs, Nigel Muldowney. A Knox, John Kettle. And an Orcs, you sell Sally Hoglu, I hope. So there we are.
And we're there. So what? How many is that? Is that 8?
That's 9. We've got one winner left. Yes. We haven't mentioned South Coast Rallies. That's your other group. Tell people about that, Luke, for us.
It is, yeah. So we're out every Sunday. Our group. So we have a good lot of regulars. That come out with us most weeks. We've had some great finds. We've had lots of hammered coins up, some Roman coins, but it's a great community of detectorists, and we do things a little bit differently to a lot of other groups. So we don't charge a kind of membership, a yearly joining fee. It's the £20, pay on the day, but you also get free lunch. So we're a little bit different. Pay you £20, but you get free lunch. So we had my good friend Niall Bailey. You know Niall, Dave, don't you?
I do, yeah. Yeah.
Trying his hand at being a chef, cooking hot dogs last week. So I think it's a good thing there's a week in between rallies, because people have probably had a bit of a chance to recover from those cooking.
I haven't mentioned something, and I can segue brilliantly into this now. Did you have any beer there at all?
No.
So you didn't have any of Yvonne London Marchant's awesome beer?
See, Yvonne's beer, I would, yes, absolutely. And I think we need to go into partnership with Yvonne, Dave. Archaeology and Metal Detecting Magazine Ale, hammered ale.
It's actually a thing. Last year, this September at the Rodney Cook Memorial Rally, we were asked by Yvonne, would we like some Archaeology and Metal Detecting Magazine Ale? And she brewed it and she brought it up, and we sat in the tent. And I think the first night where I wasn't there, the Friday night, Luke was in a bit of a state off the ale.
Nice.
And when I come down the next day, obviously she'd kept some, and then for the next week she brewed a Team Rutus ale as well. So Rutus were very complimentary of her ale. So I know she's looking at potentially expanding into doing it a little bit more. So keep an eye out for Yvonne London Marchant's ale. It's highly recommended.
We actually gave Wyola and Eric of Rutus a whole keg of Yvonne's ale at Detector, and I've not heard from either one of them since. So no. All jokes aside,
Scotty B. Scotty B. How can we describe Scotty B? Knee high, maybe.
Ooh, be careful.
Scotty B. He's not the tallest of people. We love him to bits, and he also partook in the ale and was in no fit state the next day. In fact, I think his actual detectable last day state was the worst I've seen anybody when he asked me to get him up at 8 o'clock, which I did, and 7 hours later, he can't remember.
By rocking the camper van in the morning.
No, you actually, if you remember, we actually filmed how I woke him up. Do you remember filming it?
Yeah. I wouldn't put it on Facebook, but I do remember, Dave. Yeah. I think
we did have his.
I think
his wife's permission.
Have a prosecution, Dave, for that, to be perfectly honest. But there we go. There is a name for that type of thing. But we shall.
It's called joviality. So the other thing about your rallies as well, I think, if I'm forgive me if I'm wrong, Luke. Next week you're actually going to do some form of competition, which will give a Christmas present to somebody to win for a free rally. It's not this coming. No. We're not going to do that. This would be the first time I've actually announced it. So not this coming Sunday, but the Sunday after. We're actually going to give someone on our rally, on our Christmas dig, the chance to find a hoard, because we're going to bury one. So we're going to bury £100 coins in a pot in the field, and what we're going to do is we're going to rope that area off. Usually our digs finish at about 4 o'clock, so around about 3 p.m. we'll take those ropes away and we'll let all the guys onto that area so they can all head out and attempt to find that £100 hoard that we will have buried in the field for them. So it'll be a nice Christmas bonus for one of the detectorists that attends for the day. But we might put it under a couple of horseshoes or something, so there's a bit of an element of trickery involved in that as well. But yes, there absolutely will be £100 coins buried in a pot in our rally, which will be on what date will that be? My PC's running so slowly, so it will be on Sunday the 22nd. Yeah, Sunday the 22nd. Yeah, we will have £100 hoard. But you give a couple of weeks ago, we were looking at doing as well. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago we gave away a free dig at one of your rallies, and you were looking at doing that again at some point. So are we doing that in the new year? Yes, yeah, we'll do that every week. So we will do that. We'll do that every single week. We'll give away one free ticket every week on the podcast. But we could do that for any group, absolutely. Metal Detectives, UK History Finders, Find a Field. Any of you guys, if you want to get involved in the vidcast and the podcast, we would
happily, mention your upcoming digs and etc. If you would be prepared to essentially raffle a free ticket to one of your digs.
So for instance, Scotty B, if you want to run a competition in the background, for instance, where we've done things in the past where the first person to answer a question, then you can give them a free dig at one of your up-and-coming North of Tyne events. Same goes for Find a Field, Metal Detectives, anyone like that. If you want to do that, contact ourselves. We'll work through it. It won't be a problem. It doesn't cost us anything. It's only going to cost you the price of one person on the day. So, keeps everybody happy, and it keeps the subject, the hobby, going up and up. So
absolutely, yeah.
So over to John again. Oh, sorry, I apologise.
I think we got Gary Smith in the chat there. Hello, Gary.
Which one's that? Is that your one or my one?
I don't know. Have you got your own Gary, Dave?
No, you're on the live video feed. So you've got him on the video feed. You're on the video feed. Yeah. I'm on the Spreaker feed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's go over to John for the last winner and John's last words, and then we'll run through them again. John? Robert Lapworth. Brilliant. Yes, definitely, John. So not just obviously to members who are listening, because we have a lot of people from different countries listening, but from the NCMD and from ourselves, a fantastic festive period and a healthy and happy new year. Obviously, we're doing more of that, but that's from the NCMD. Happy Christmas to yourselves. I've only repeated that, John, obviously, for the video cast people. So just to run down on the winners, John, David Owen with an ORX, Mark Fawkes with a Knox, Chloe Riley with an ORX, Steve Clifford with a Knox, Steve Gilson with an AUX, David Morris with a Knox, Nigel Muldowney with an AUX, John Kettle with a Knox, Sell Sally Hoglu with an AUX, and finally Robert Lapworth with a Knox. So all names will be published on the National Council for Metal Detecting Facebook page, I take it, after obviously you've communicated with them privately to arrange getting them shipped out to them, etc. And then hopefully you're going to come back in the near future when they've all got their obviously metal detectors and hopefully some photographs with them using it, etc. Just to show everybody that they've got them and everything's cool and groovy. Fantastic. On behalf of all the members, John, obviously, thank you to the NCMD for doing this tonight. And especially on the winners' behalf, I'm sure they'd like to thank you publicly as well. I'll do that for them on their behalf. Obviously, I think we've only got David Owen who's listening, but I know he was quite excited to be the winner of an AUX anyway. So brilliant, fantastic. And I hope it's worked on your behalf coming on the show and doing this tonight, John. You certainly will in the next couple of days, no, John. You don't need to go. You can stay on for a little bit. Obviously, me and Luke are going to, we'll be ending the show shortly. What we tend to try and do is set the show for around an hour. Luke and I have chatted over the past week, and he said some of the past editions of the show, we've ended maybe a little bit early, so we can go on until such point as we feel like in the future, no doubt, Luke.
Yeah, I think between an hour and a half is probably about right. But one thing, just what I remember, Dave, I did just want to say to people listening, with the podcast, you can, all of those episodes that we spoke to you about earlier, you can go onto Spreaker and you can actually download those very easily over your home Wi-Fi to your mobile phone. And then the way generally I tend to listen to the podcasts is I download them to my phone and then I listen to them on my morning commute on my way to work. Just link it to the Bluetooth in the car. So there's what, 20 odd episodes there. So there's a lot of listening there and a lot of really, really good guests and really good metal detecting talk. So I think it's a must, really, or maybe save them for when you're on your way out to your Sunday rally. Or
when you're off work the next couple of weeks over Christmas, and you get bored with watching cartoons on TV, and the kids are in a way, go upstairs and listen to the podcast.
Or just put them on while you're eating your Christmas dinner. The family will love it.
Force the kids to listen to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's multiple ways you can listen. As I said earlier, you've got Spotify, you've got iTunes, iHeartRadio. We are in negotiations with 2 actual radio stations, which this will be going on their it's a digital radio stations. This will be going on their playlists, which is one of the reasons why we wanted to set it for around an hour so it fit in with their schedule. But one of them has given us an open schedule. We can have as much time as we want. As I say, iHeartRadio, Spotify. There's multiple ways you can listen. So I don't use iTunes or anything like that, so I wouldn't know how that works. But I'm presuming it'll be much the same as everything else. But yeah, there you go. That's basically it covered, more or less, Luke.
Definitely, yeah. Who have we got next week, Dave? Do we know yet? Or?
Yes, next week we've got Mr. Aaron Weedle, South Coast Detecting, and hopefully, one of his friends will be coming along with him. If you're still listening, Aaron, can you give me the nod that you know what I'm on about? He's not come back yet.
No, he sounds a pound. He'll do it.
Yeah, no, he's trying.
Those of you that don't know Aaron Weedle, this guy, I've never been envious of another man's voice until I heard Aaron Weedle. It's a nice voice, Dave, isn't it? Who's the guy, Matt? Who's the guy that did a Toast of London? Someone Berry, the TV series.
Absolutely no idea. Never heard of it.
If I can find it.
Yeah, Aaron knows exactly. Aaron knows exactly who I'm on about. I think Aaron could actually open the show next week.
Yeah, yeah.
John, are you still there, perchance, John? Peter Rallies asked me to ask you, can you tell him about your trip to Blackpool Beach?
She found it, some dug it up in the tin, and inside it was the invitation to her own wedding. Well, Pete did a great job. I haven't had nothing to do with it.
Did Pete end up with a metal detector wrapped around his neck at all?
I brought all the metal detectors. He had to bring about 6 metal detectors down and shovels and everything. We had them all lined up. And they all turned up in this van, and we had to film them walking towards us. And then when they saw the metal detectors, their hearts just.
This actually explains why Pete is so adverse to marriage, obviously.
Yeah. It was a fun day. The only problem was it couldn't have been worse because it had been raining all night. It wasn't too bad when we were filming, but it was still very, very windy and a very grey, coldish day. Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to wrap up the show now. Have you got any last bits, Luke?
No, only that it's called The Toast of London. Not a Slice of Toast, the TV series, and it's Matt Berry. That is who Aaron Weedle sounds like. Matt Berry.
Still never heard of him.
But no, it's been a pleasure, and thank you very much, John, top man.
Yeah, it's been fantastic, John. Have you got any last bits to say, John?
Yeah, just once again, Merry Christmas to everybody at the podcast, and you and Luke, and thanks for having us on here. It's been an honour, as I say, and congratulations to all the winners. Commiserations to the people that didn't win anything. But as I say, it's our 40th anniversary next year, so there'll be bits and pieces, there'll be other things going on, and hopefully they'll all stay members. And as I say, every member, renewal or new member next year, as soon as we get the badges, we'll get a patch in the post or via their club.
Brilliant. And we hopefully, well, we know we'll be doing something ourselves in regards to the 40th anniversary of the NCMD next year. But that information we're going to keep for now. So just a shout out again at the end of the show to the people that we normally give a shout out to. The DeBays, Find a Field, Tony Kaywood. Please have a look for the Archaeology and Metal Detecting Magazine website, the Facebook page, the Facebook group, Twitter and Instagram, the All Metal Mode UK and Big Metal Detecting Podcast Facebook page. Thank you to Treasure Hunting Magazine, Leisure Promotions, Regton's, North of the Time Metal Detecting Club on Facebook, South Coast Detecting on YouTube, Metal Detecting Media Facebook, South East Metal Detecting Rallies, Steve Pettican, and everyone else who's listening. So just before we go, and the Metal Detectives, of course. I keep having to add to this. You see, I'm going to have to laminate it and keep going. Just to finish, I will read again the winners for tonight from the NCMD raffle. And what we're going to do, we're going to end with a song that was recorded by the legendary 10 Seconds called A Metal Detectorist Song. So first prize for the Orcs was David Owen. The Knox, Mark Fawkes. The Orcs, Chloe Riley. The Knox, Steve Clifford. The Orcs, Steve Gilson. The Knox, David Morris. The Orcs, Nigel Muldowney. The Knox, John Kettle. The Orcs, Yusel Sally Hoglu. And the Knox, Robert Lathworth. Congratulations to each and every one of you. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Please come back next week and keep looking out for us in the future. Thank you, each and every one of you. Good night.